We're here at the NVSDN Americas event just outside Dallas, Texas in Las Colinas. Today I'm here with Abdul and Vineet from Tata Communications Transformation Services, or TCTS. And first of all, let's talk about what TCTS is helping companies do. So it's a transformation partner for CSPs, media companies, over-the-top providers. How is the transformation journey shaping up for CSPs?
The future is digital. So every CSP is transforming themselves to become a digital service provider. So during this journey of transformation, there are multi-folds of challenges which they overcome. So that's where TCTS comes into play. We help the service providers to realize what is their strength, and through augmenting our services portfolio into it, we will take them towards the journey in transforming them into a digital service provider. When we talk about digital service transformation, there are multiple aspects which comes into it. Today, everything is moving towards cloud. Security becomes a major aspect which we need to look into it. So TCTS has a very good portfolio of transformation where we bring in a lot of experience, what we have built within ourselves and what we gain from all the global telcos. We would like to put that in front of our customer with real-time use cases and help them to kind of undergo this transition in a smooth way.
Obviously, 5G is on everyone's mind because that's one of the next evolutions of CSPs. How is TCTS helping companies get ready for 5G?
So yeah, it's a very interesting area to kind of talk about, right? You see a lot of I would say traction happening in the space. TCTS is very well geared up to kind of address some of the typical customer requirements, especially around 5G space. You think about small cell deployments, you think about backhauls to the network, you talk about cloudification of the networks, and finally the most important of all, edge in terms of solving some of the pertinent cases around the edge. As TCTS portfolio, I think we address and cater to almost all of these elements separately, and we have seen a very good traction building from the customer perspective in terms of some of the offerings that we have in the market.
Now, we're at a NFV and SDN event. We're talking about virtualization and how that's changing the network. What are some of the major barriers that you're seeing service providers encounter as they're trying to adopt NFV and SDN?
First and foremost, I would say interoperability. There are a lot of standard bodies who are trying to build standards together on NFV and SDN ecosystem. For them to interoperate and make it a seamless kind of standard for the larger industry to adopt is going to be one big area that needs to be resolved and looked into, right? The second area is in terms of SLA. When you think of different VNFs from different vendors coming together on one single large platform, managing one single SLA for the end customer becomes extremely challenging, right? So how do you really solve that problem, in terms of the SLA, right? The third is the security and regulation, right? So when you think of the way networks are being transformed, most of the virtualization and softwarization of the network would mean that there's a whole new look in terms of how you define your security. Abdul touched upon it in the beginning of conversation in terms of very interesting offerings that we have created. What we have done is we've kind of virtualized security functions, and we have made it more and more context aware, application specific, and we have got a very strong security portfolio along with SD-WAN, which is kind of making solving some critical problems from the customer perspective, right? And last but not the least, the skills and then the culture issue. We have seen that as the networks are becoming more and more programmable, management and orchestrations being automated in some sense, you need a completely different skill set and the culture in the organization to really make that impact from the digital transformation perspective.
He touched upon a very good point in terms of skills. Today, the major challenge is how do we kind of skill our workforce, right? When we talk about next generation, the thing is we need to really work on programs, how do we develop skill of our workforce. So that's where we really focus on. We have a very skilled workforce, and we kind of ensure that we always keep them up to date in terms of whatever is happening in the market, and we ensure that we give them the right set of training. Today, all the service providers, they are facing a challenge in terms of the skill crunch. So that is where TCTS plays a dominant role to address that.
Another big trend that's sort of reshaping networks is the rise of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So how do you guys see AI and ML playing in new networks?
So I'm happy to share that as TCTS, we were one of the few early adopters of robotic and automation into our ecosystem. to offer, I would say, competing and compelling services to our customers. Just to give an example, we have RP as, as one of the, offerings within our ecosystem, which helps to automate, a lot of these, repeatable tasks within our ecosystem. Then you have got network provisioning, which is again a support service that we offer as part of our, our managed services. All those tasks which were kind of earlier, I would say, a little more cumbersome. Had a lot of time that had to be given for any kind of changes, is now becoming more and more preventive in nature with the whole robotics and automation kind of being built into it. So we kind of ensure that everything which is repeatable, we leverage an element of AI and ML to kind of really enhance one, the experience to the end customers, and second, at the same time, reduce the time and how we can deliver the services to the customers.
Last question, let's talk about some success stories around next generation network transformations. Do you have any stories to share that TCTS has been involved in?
TCTS is making massive impact on some of the large customer transformations for tier 1 operators globally. We have customers in all the different regions and parts of the globe. We have seen a massive success around next gen automation kind of platforms. We have seen successes around testing and VNF onboarding with some of the large customers that we work with. We have some similar successes in the US region as well, where we have large tier 1 customers where we kind of provide a lot of services at the back end to help them improve and be more efficient in terms of operating their entire ecosystem.
We ourselves have a telecom lineage and a telecom DNA with us, right? We are a company which formed out of a service provider. So whatever we try to kind of take it to our customers, we have a proper experience backed up at what we do in our own shop. So we bring that into place. So that adds a lot of value in front of the customer. So a trust in terms of we have done it, we have the experience to do it, and we do understand a CSP problem very well, being a CSP. So that is an added advantage what we have.
It's an excellent place to leave it. And gentlemen, thanks so much for giving me an overview of how you're helping CSPs and why they should talk to TCTS. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.